commit the crime and then cry victim when caught. Is this what Pakistan is up to? Well, one can ask the question, isn't this what most of the radical Islamists do? They always first commit the crime, and then when retribution starts, they start crying uncle. And victimhood, Islamophobia, the whole alphabet soup of words comes out. This has been the template for them for a long time. Is this what Pakistan is attempting to do again this time around? Look at what happened. In the United Nations, India tried very hard in the UNSC to name LET, and that would have, if they had named it, then that would have implicated Pakistan. So somehow Pakistan went begging to China, or China might have said, don't worry, I'm there to take care of this. Don't have to do anything. We will make sure that your name does not get entered in UNSC. Be that as it may, that was just one instance. Now Pakistan is doing the rounds to, having people go to various countries and talk about, why that they should ask India to restrain itself. Something, in the Pahalgam incident, the way the thing has been done, it almost sounds like Pakistan has run out of terrorists to train from Jammu and Kashmir, and therefore they have actually sent one of their commando regulars to do their job as a mujahideen or a whatever martyr or whatever BS you want to add to that, and this is what it appears to have been there. Also, there may be a Hamas element here. The Israelis certainly are sniffing around to find out if something like that has happened, and India appears to be determined to teach Pakistan a lesson this time, and they don't know what that lesson is. In fact, there was an interesting aside on all these things. 𝗍𝗲𝗄𝗎 Sharif got admitted in the hospital saying that he may have some hemorrhoids problem, and then he is discharged saying he is fine, nothing is wrong. Well, why the hell do anybody want to know? Now let's take a look at what happened in Pahalgam and how Pakistan systematically inserted itself in this particular encounter, and how India can look for and cut off Pakistan from doing the same thing in the days and weeks to come. A small request to all of you to please like this video, and don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Pak's terror trail to Pahalgam. If you look at what they did this time, you can see 9 major points. What was the brutality of the Pahalgam attack, right? See, read the kalma. If you can't recite the kalma, boom. Identification of religion as non-Muslim. It was for not just Hindus but also for Christians. All those misguided Christians, very literate PhDs and masters, they go to their church and then listen to the pastor and vote as to what the pastor says, as if the pastor is more knowledgeable than you all. Come on, shame on you guys. I'm really saying, you have masters and PhDs and you listen to one guy who's a debauch? Come on now, wake up. Anyway, eyewitnesses say attacker spoke in Pakistani Punjabi. So there is a Pakistani Punjabi and there is a Punjabi Indian version of that, and the two are different. Just like the Bangladesh Bengali is different from the West Bengal Bengali. You can easily pick the difference. TRF, the Resistance Front, is a proxy of Lashkar-e-Taiba. Pak administration agencies linked with TRF and LET. This is what they tried very hard to get the UNSC to not link, and they sort of succeeded somewhat. India, being not a UNSC member, couldn't push this thing through. I mean, shame on Nehru for doing what he did. Anyway, now the signature that you see here, it has a similarity with something else. We're going to show you what that is. On February 5th, in Pakistan, there was a solidarity conference in which members of the Hamas attended. So now the question is, was there a Hamas commando also? Because people were saying that these people are speaking a language, something that was foreign. So is it possible that there were 2 Hamas commandos who were actually doing the terror stuff? A lot of questions like that. So we're going to talk about all these things, 2 minutes each. Asim Munir's desperation about 2-nation theory and Pak's removal from FATF grey list in 2022. What are the consequences because of that? The brutality of the Pahalgam attack. They targeted unarmed civilians, including pilgrims and locals, showing no discrimination. They opened fire and they stood between the people and the one gate that was there. The people could not escape. It was really, really sad they went about doing it, but this is what LET's old method used to be. So this is mirroring what the LET has done before. That tells you that there's a TRF LET link. The survivors reported that the gunmen continued firing even after people fell wounded, indicating an intent to kill rather than just hurt. This was a very well-planned operation. We know now that recce was done a few days before that, and looks like a lot of people were involved in doing that. They found out a lot of things. So the problem here is, what were the law and order agencies doing? They were notified by people who were concerned about what was happening. Why did you not act on that intel? You might say, well, there are hundreds of intel like this that come every day. We can't act on each and every one. But the person said some specific things. Did you at least think that, oh, maybe there is something more? This person is very observant. That person has said something that might be of use. So we'll see. We know that there are 23 Indian Hindu pilgrims, 1 Nepalese and 2 local residents, including a mule driver. Looks like the mule driver is a Shia, and that he read the Kalma in a different way, and they just, did him. But there is also, like 𝗥𝗙𝗧𝗧 said, there may be another angle to this. You'll have to kind of make your own conclusion. I'm not going to do that. And several others, including women and children, suffered bullet injuries and are being treated in various hospitals. Number 2, identification of religion as being non-Muslim. Eyewitnesses and early intelligence assessments confirm that the attackers selectively targeted based on religious identity. They spared Muslim civilians but showed aggression towards Hindu and Sikh pilgrims, echoing radical Islamist ideology. Terrorists forced tourists to look for religious symbols like Rudraksha mala, sacred threads, or any other Hindu religious markers. Once identified as Hindus, the victims were forced at gunpoint to recite the Kalma, and failing which they were shot. The objective here was profiling and to specifically target non-Muslim. You guys won't last a second if other religions start doing the same thing. You understand that, right? Well, this is the thing is, sometimes लातों के भूत बातों से नहीं मानते. Well, the use of forced Kalma recitation has been a repeated jihadi terror tactic in conflict zones. Number 3, eyewitnesses say that attackers spoke in Pakistani Punjabi. Survivors and security officials noted this Punjabi accent and phrases used during the attack. So this is the attack, but somebody else, while 2 days before that, they were talking about people speaking in a foreign language. So there may be more than 4 people. Maybe there are 5, 6, 7, who knows? This is a fairly well-planned attack. Tourists and locals who survived described the attackers' accent, words, and manner as being different from Kashmir or Indian Punjabi. The attackers gave commands, spoke to each other, and even shouted during the firing, all in Pakistani-style Punjabi. TRF, the resistance front, emerged in 2019, immediately after FATF scrutiny forced Pakistan to officially deny terror camps. It presents itself as an indigenous Kashmiri militant group to mask the Pakistani hand behind terrorism in the region. Sheikh Sajjad Gul, a known Lashkar-e-Taiba handler based in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, was identified as a key coordinator in the TRF activities. TRF tactics, targets, and attack style mirror LET, focusing on non-Muslims, political assassinations, and attacks on security forces and civilians. The US State Department and Indian intelligence agencies have officially noted that TRF is an offshoot or proxy of Lashkar-e-Taiba. TRF's propaganda content, like videos, etc., have often used Lashkar symbols, slogans, and other stuff. Now, Pak administration agencies are linked with TRF and LET globally. This was what India was trying to prove. After international bans on Lashkar-e-Taiba and JAM, Pakistan needed to mask its hand in Kashmir terrorism. TRF telegram channels were traced to handles located inside Pak. Pak's military intelligence agency, ISI, has been internationally documented as providing funding, training, arms, and logistical support to Lashkar-e-Taiba. Intelligence agencies, both Western as well as Indian, have confirmed that LET developed sleeper cells in Europe using NGOs and Islamic charities as cover. David Headley, a Pakistani-American LET operative, admitted he was tasked after 26/11 to scout Denmark's Jyllands-Posten for a planned mass casualty attack called Operation Mickey Mouse. According to a 2011 WikiLeaks cable, and British intelligence MI5 flagged LET's plan to strike London and Manchester. German security agencies also warned that LET operatives linked to Pakistan were trying to build connections with radicalized youth in Europe. This is a fairly, widespread operation. I don't know how Europe is going to contain it. And stupidly, they are actually supporting in some ways, useful idiot type of support to the Pakistanis. I don't know why they are doing that. Well, they'll come to their senses sooner rather than later. We'll see. While TRF itself has not conducted physical attacks in Europe, it is heavily involved in cyber propaganda and recruitment efforts in the local Muslim communities. Several Kashmir-focused NGOs in Brussels, Geneva, and London have been linked to LET and TRF, raising funds under human rights and spreading anti-India propaganda. These people hate India so much. I wonder if they even will come to the Indian border when push comes to shove. Maybe that's the best thing to happen to India, that we will die, but we won't go seek help from India. Good for you. Die. 72 virgins will come closer, faster. I don't know what happens to women. What is the equivalent? I don't know. In 2020, France thwarted a terrorist attack linked to a Pakistani extremism reminiscent of LET and TRF operations. Remember, I told you in previous hangout about the Crocus incident and about Pakistani hand in that. So Russia is also hopping mad. They also want to go after Pakistan. 2 individuals are seriously injured in a stabbing near the former offices of the satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo in Paris. The assailant, identified as Zahir Hassan Mahmood, a 25-year-old Pakistani national, confessed to attacking in retaliation for the magazine's republication of cartoons depicting the Prophet Muhammad. Now let's get back to Pahalgam 2025. The terrorists identified tourists by religion, forced some to strip to check for Hindu symbols, and shot those who could not recite the Kalma. And this is very, very similar to what happened in 26/11 attacks. Now, Makhanlal Bindru, a prominent Kashmiri Pandit pharmacist, was shot dead inside his shop in Srinagar on October 5th, 2021. On October 7th, Supinder Kaur, a Sikh school principal, and Deepak Chand, a Hindu teacher, were killed inside their school in 𝗟𝗏𝗏 area of Srinagar. They were trying to do ethnic cleansing in 2021, even though Article 370 had been abrogated in 2019. So this is where India acts stupid, in my opinion. When you do something like abrogation of Article 370, they should have immediately moved at least 1 lakh ex-servicemen. We should have lined them up before that quietly, or at least do 10,000. Create an enclave. The intent is very clear. We are here to reclaim the land of the Hindus that you drove out. Why did you not do that? I don't know. In April 2022, the terrorists targeted Hindu workers in Pulwama and Budgam district. So these are all things, every year there'll be like RULS, RULLS, that Omibai talks about. They were trying to do the same thing. Basically, they think they are superior to Hindus, that Hindus don't belong in Kashmir and Kashmir is theirs. There's nothing better than to show them that this Kashmir is not theirs. Maybe India should occupy POK and let all those who want Kashmir for themselves go and live in POK. The valley is not yours. These are all hard statements, I know, and people probably won't do it, and they'll say, what is wrong with this guy? Why is he going on so extreme on this? Because that is the amount of anger. There's a sense of entitlement that needs to be completely broken. This is not just in Kashmir, it's in the entire country. A little bit exists in the minority Christian community also. There is no sense of entitlement. Congress is never coming back, I can tell you. BJP is here to stay for a long, long time. And every time they come back, they're going to tighten the screws a little bit more. The next PM is not going to be as nice as Modi. I can tell you that too. In 2023, TRF militants killed 3 security officers, including Colonel Manpreet Singh, Major Ashish Dhonak, and DSP Humayun Bhatt, in a Kokarnag gunfight. On June 9, 2024, a terrorist attack occurred in Riasi district, where militants opened fire on a passenger bus carrying Hindu pilgrims, causing the bus to plunge into a gorge. This is the day of oath-taking of this particular Modi government. On October 20, 2024, you see how many incidents have happened. In the other thing they did after the abrogation, TRF circulated lists of non-Muslim residents and employees, threatening them. See, the Kashmiri Hindus had a lot of property in Kashmir. After abrogation of 370, at least they could have tried to run, throw out all the illegal occupants and say, these are not your lands, these are not your houses. Somewhere they needed to be shown their place. Why is this government not doing that? It's not just to get, a manifesto line item done saying that abrogation of 370 done. Because after that, you successively diluted it. Common patterns between all these events is religious identification through names and IDs, selective killing of Hindus, Sikhs and Shias, and psychological warfare to instill fear and disrupt the Port Article 370 status in the society. Now, what happened on February 5th? There was a Palestine-Kashmir Solidarity Conference linking Hamas and Kashmir. And this took place in Pakistan. At the event, TRF mouthpieces and Pakistani politicians called for global Muslim unity against occupiers, merging Palestine and Kashmir narratives. That's where the suspicion comes that perhaps one or two of the attackers were also from Hamas. Goal is to legitimize violence in Kashmir by linking it to the Palestinian cause, internationalize Kashmiri issue again. Remember in the morning we showed you in the video on with 𝗥𝗙𝗏 in outside Pakistani embassy how a Pakistani journalist, a proud Pakistani. Why do you have to say proud Pakistani? You are living in England. You can be proud. No, nothing. The thing is, there's so much anger coming out. Anger out of helplessness. Anger out of being weak. Anger out of fear. What's going to happen to us? Yes, you had bad thoughts. Bad things will happen. Bad karma is going to happen. It's just around the corner. So these are the things that are happening again and again and again and again. So what did Asim Munir's speech say? On April 16th, 2025, addressing a convention for overseas Pakistanis in Islamabad, Asim Munir urged attendees to share the story of Pakistan's creation with their children. Lot of sacrifice. Yes, a little finger got cut. He had to go and apply Band-Aid. That was the kind of work these guys did. This thing was handed to them in a platter because the British wanted to hurt India before they left. In April again, Munir reaffirmed the two-nation theory during a speech at the Pakistan Military Academy in Kabul, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Most of the time this guy is standing behind a bulletproof glass. It's not sure that he's not going to be shot at. That is how safe he is in Pakistan. In fact, they don't even have an idea of his whereabouts right now. At the time of recording this video, they don't know where he is. And he tried to divide Hindus and Muslims. You know what? You are a shithead. Nobody cares what you think. So this desperation due to Pakistan's political and economic collapse, it is becoming more and more into pan-Islamism. You know what? Islam is not going to feed you food. You need to work for that. And those who used to throw crumbs at you have all stopped doing that now. What are you going to do next? India is blockading your ports. No food from the ports. How many times do you think Turkey is going to airdrop supplies? Even that they may find a way to stop that too. You are in for a lot of trouble. You're in for a lot of trouble. Now, Pakistan's removal from the FATF grey list in 2022 boosted terror activities, and that was exactly what was expected. When Biden tucked his tail and ran out of Afghanistan on 15th August 2021, we knew that whatever is there, those arms and ammunition are going to fall in the hands of Taliban and every other group that wants to run jihad, including the ones that so-called units that are completely under the thumb of the ISI and the Pak army. So once they got off from under FATF, their fear that they would get into the blacklist went away. So they were back to business. This is exactly what happened. Recruitment propaganda started, and the increased online recruitment for Kashmir in Punjab and Europe. Recruitment propaganda increased online in Kashmir, Punjab and Europe. Cross-border infiltration attempts into Kashmir doubled according to Indian Army estimates. Now, funding routes to TRF, JET, all these things resumed via Hawala and crypto is a deadly way to transfer money. So it's much more potent than a Hawala transfer because no money gets exchanged until the last mile. More drone drop weapons have been seized along the LOC since 2022. That's another cause for concern for India. India saw a spike in targeted attacks in the Rajouri, Poonch sectors. Pakistan linked radical sea fueling protests in UK, Canada under Kashmir solidarity banners. We have some useful idiots also. As a steel baron whose name adorns one of the prestigious university campus buildings has allowed a Pakistan symposium to go through. We should all cringe, hang our heads in shame. This is the kind of CEOs, captains of the industry we have. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.